What if everything you've been told about Prince Harry's fight for his family's safety is a carefully constructed lie? What if the real story, the one they don't want you to know, has been buried deep beneath layers of manipulation, media spin, and raw ambition? It's easy to buy into the idea that Harry is just a son fighting for his children's right to know their royal family. But let me ask you this. What's really driving this crusade? Is it love for his family, or something darker, something far more selfish? As the world watches, Prince Harry's every move seems to be carefully timed for maximum drama and maximum headlines. But behind the glossy magazine covers, the emotional pleas, and the poor Harry narrative, there's a much more complex and far more dangerous story unfolding. What if this isn't about family at all? What if it's about control, power, and a very clever game to stay in the spotlight? Keep watching as we uncover the truth that's been hidden for far too long. You won't want to miss the revelations coming up next. Trust me, you're not going to look at this royal saga the same way again. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is just the beginning. Let's take a step back and look at the story being sold to the public. Prince Harry, the beloved royal, steps away from royal duty, moving to California with his wife Meghan, in search of privacy, peace, and a fresh start. And yet, here we are, years later, watching Harry fight tooth and nail for one thing: more media attention. But it's not just any attention. He wants the spotlight to be on his family, with him playing the role of a grieving father, desperate to protect his children from the evil press and the toxic environment of the UK. Is that really what's happening here? Or is there more to the story than what we're being told? Let's start with the basic premise we're given. Harry is fighting for his family's safety and protection, which on the surface sounds noble, doesn't it? He's a father, after all, trying to shield his kids from the harsh realities of royal life. In his recent media blitz, Harry has made it clear that he's not just fighting for himself, but for the safety of his children, Archie and Lilibet. According to him, they deserve to know their royal heritage, to have the right to visit the UK, to experience the family he's been so desperate to separate himself from. But here's the catch. Harry has also made it abundantly clear that he doesn't want to return to the UK unless everything is on his terms. He wants full protection, 24/7. But he refuses to acknowledge the very reason he's in this situation. He chose to step away from royal duties, effectively relinquishing his right to the taxpayer-funded protection he now demands. The narrative being pushed is that Harry is just a son trying to reconnect with his family, seeking a reconciliation with his father, King Charles. But when you take a closer look, it starts to unravel, doesn't it? How can someone claim to be fighting for family while simultaneously casting aside any chance of real reconciliation? He's made countless public statements trashing his own family, particularly his father. And yet now we're supposed to believe he's just a loving son trying to mend broken ties? It doesn't add up. So, let's pause for a moment and ask, why now? Why is Harry suddenly so desperate to return to a country he claimed was toxic, and a family he spent years criticizing? Could it be that Harry isn't fighting for family at all, but rather for control over a narrative he's desperate to sell? Could it be that this isn't a crusade for reconciliation, but a strategic move to secure more wealth, more fame, and more power in the public eye? Let's look at the timeline here. Harry and Meghan have made millions from deals with Netflix, Spotify, and book contracts. Each deal heavily relies on the very family they claim to despise. This isn't just about protecting his family. It's about controlling the story. And the more dramatic, the better. Every headline, every tearful interview, every shocking revelation, it all serves a purpose. The narrative Harry is pushing isn't just for his own benefit. It's for financial gain. It's for media control. And it's about ensuring that he remains relevant long after the royal spotlight has dimmed. And here's the kicker. Why is the timing so convenient? Just as King Charles is fighting a serious health battle, just as the royal family is busy with the duties of the monarchy, Harry decides to drop another bombshell. The perfect moment to remind everyone of his importance, isn't it? How easy it is for him to play the victim when everyone's eyes are on the royal family's internal struggles. But let's hold off on that for a second. There's something else that's been left out of the media narrative. Something that doesn't quite fit with the image Harry is trying to sell. Could it be that the real reason for Harry's sudden fight isn't about protection or family, but about using the public to get what he wants? And if you're still wondering where this is going, stay with me, because what we're about to uncover next will shatter everything you thought you knew. Harry's family fight is just a pawn in a much bigger game, and when we dig deeper, it'll become painfully clear who's really pulling the strings. As we start peeling back the layers of this carefully constructed narrative, it becomes clear that what we've been told is just the tip of the iceberg. We've been led to believe that Harry's fight for his family's safety is just a simple act of love and concern. But when we dig deeper, we begin to uncover contradictions that the media conveniently leaves out. And these contradictions are far from trivial. They're the kind of details that don't just change the story, they completely rewrite it. Let's begin with the most glaring question. If Harry is so intent on reuniting with his family, why has he made it so difficult? We've seen countless interviews, countless headlines, where Harry talks about the importance of family, about wanting his children to know their royal heritage. Yet, despite all this talk of reconciliation, there's one glaring thing missing: his actions. If Harry truly wanted to mend his relationship with his father, wouldn't he have taken steps to make that happen? Wouldn't he have made it easier for the family to be together? But no. Instead, Harry chose to publicly attack his family, using the media to amplify every slight, every disagreement. Just last year, he released his memoir, Spare, where he did nothing but throw fuel on the fire of his family's tensions. In it, he blames his father, Prince William, and even the late Queen for all the struggles in his life. And now, after all of that, we're supposed to believe that Harry is fighting for a peaceful family reunion? Doesn't it seem more likely that the drama has served his purpose all along? But it's not just the timing of his crusade that's suspicious. Let's talk about the why. Why is Harry suddenly so desperate to bring his children to the UK? Well, on the surface, it's about them knowing their royal heritage. But if we're being honest, that sounds more like a convenient excuse than a real reason. Let's ask the hard question. Is it possible that this isn't about family at all? Could it be that Harry is using his children as pawns in a larger game to secure more media attention, more sympathy, and ultimately more cash? Here's where things get really interesting. According to multiple reports, Harry and Meghan have earned millions from their media deals, including their Netflix contract and their Spotify deal. But here's the problem. All of these deals depend on one thing: the royal family. That's right. The Sussexes' celebrity status is entirely built on their connection to the monarchy. Without the royal ties, their appeal would disappear, and their media empire would crumble. So, let's be real. Could it be that Harry's quest to bring his kids to the UK has less to do with family and more to do with keeping the royal connection alive? The more headlines he can generate, the more money he stands to make. It's as simple as that. And let's not forget about the strategic timing of it all. Every time the royal family is dealing with a major issue, whether it's King Charles's health or William and Catherine attending important royal duties, Harry seems to drop another bombshell. It's as though he's deliberately creating chaos to draw attention to himself. Just look at the timing of the recent security battle. As King Charles deals with his own health issues, Harry decides it's the perfect moment to remind the world of his safety concerns. Is it really about his family's well-being? Or is it just another chapter in the ongoing saga of Harry's media circus? Now, let's step back and take a broader view. We've seen this kind of behavior before, haven't we? History is full of figures who used family drama to stay in the spotlight, all while profiting from the chaos they stirred. And Harry's story fits that mold perfectly. He's created a public narrative that's built on emotional blackmail, manipulation, and a constant stream of media-friendly sound bites. But the real question is, who benefits from this? It's certainly not the royal family, who are left to pick up the pieces of a fractured relationship. And it's not the British public, who are footing the bill for Harry's security. The only ones who seem to benefit from this ongoing drama are Harry and Meghan themselves, securing a future in the limelight, no matter the cost. As we dig deeper into this mess, we begin to see that there's far more to this story than just a son fighting for his family's safety. There's manipulation, exploitation, and dare I say greed at the heart of it all. So, what's really going on here? Is Harry just an emotionally confused prince trying to find his way? Or is he playing a much more calculated game? And here's the twist you didn't expect. In the next part, we'll look at the real reasons behind Harry's crusade. And the shocking truth might be more than you can handle. Stay tuned, because the next layer of this story is about to be revealed. Now that we've explored the surface-level story, it's time to dig deeper and uncover some truths that have been carefully buried beneath the headlines. What's really going on behind the scenes? Why does Harry seem so desperate to play the role of the victim? And what exactly is at stake here? Let's break it down. First, let's revisit the claim that Harry is fighting for the safety and well-being of his family. Sure, he says that he wants to bring his children to the UK so they can meet their royal relatives. But let's take a closer look at the facts. Harry and Meghan have made millions off their Netflix and Spotify deals. And much of that money comes from being former royals and creating drama about their royal connections. Without the royal family, there is no brand, no media empire, no limelight. Is it starting to make sense yet? Consider this. Harry wants his children to know their royal heritage, but hasn't brought them to the UK since the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in 2022. If his primary concern was family connection and legacy, why not bring them back sooner? What if the delay had less to do with protecting his children and more to do with manipulating the media narrative? Every headline about his battle for security, his fight with his family, and the ongoing drama only increases his marketability. It's clear now that the story Harry is selling isn't about protecting his children. It's about ensuring that the media spotlight stays firmly on him. Now, let's consider another critical detail that's been overlooked by many: Harry's legal battles. Recently, Harry made headlines when he settled a case against the Sun newspaper, claiming a privacy violation. But hold on, did he really win this case? Or was it just a strategic settlement to avoid further scrutiny? If you take a step back and analyze the situation, it becomes clear that Harry wasn't fighting for justice. He was protecting his image. By settling, he avoided the embarrassment of having his past drug use and other controversial moments brought up in court. It's the perfect play. Harry gets the media to believe he's victorious while simultaneously avoiding any real accountability. But there's more. Harry's ongoing case regarding security is another key factor. He's fighting to reinstate the level of protection he had when he was a senior royal. But here's the question no one is asking. Why does a private citizen who has stepped away from royal duties deserve taxpayer-funded security? The simple answer is he doesn't. The UK government made the right call when they downgraded his security. It's not the responsibility of the British people to fund Harry's personal protection. But Harry, ever the manipulator, wants to play the victim card and use this issue to stay in the spotlight. The timing couldn't be more perfect. Could it? Just when the monarchy is dealing with internal turmoil and his father's health battle, Harry decides to reignite his media war. It's almost as if he's playing chess while everyone else is focused on checkers. And let's not forget the most surprising piece of evidence that comes from Harry's own actions. In his memoir Spare, he opened up about his experiences in Afghanistan, including his military service as a gunner. But here's the thing. Harry has always tried to position himself as a hero, the brave soldier who served his country. The reality? His military career, much like his royal life, wasn't as glamorous as it seemed. He was never a pilot, as many had assumed, but rather a gunner. And yet, the media continued to let him control the narrative, positioning him as an elite fighter pilot. Why does this matter? It's a perfect example of how Harry has carefully crafted an image that aligns with the public's expectations, while strategically avoiding the truth when it doesn't fit his narrative. At this point, we're starting to see the bigger picture, aren't we? Harry isn't fighting for family or legacy, he's fighting for relevance, for control over the media narrative, and for money. Every move he makes, every statement he releases, is calculated to ensure he remains in the public eye. The media, too, plays its part, helping to perpetuate the poor Harry storyline, all while ignoring the deeper, more uncomfortable truths. And now, the final question we have to ask. Who is really pulling the strings in this saga? Is Harry simply a pawn in a much larger game? Or is he, in fact, the mastermind behind this ongoing media circus? The next part will reveal the hidden players behind the scenes. And trust me, it's a twist you didn't see coming. Stay with us as we uncover what's really going on and why this story is far from over. Now that we've uncovered the contradictions, the manipulations, and the carefully constructed narrative surrounding Harry's so-called family fight, let's take a moment to step back and ask, who's really behind all this? We've seen Harry and Meghan play the media like an instrument, but could there be a deeper, more strategic force pulling the strings? Could it be that Harry isn't just a prince looking for reconciliation, but a puppet in a larger game, one in which the stakes are far higher than we've been led to believe? Let's start by considering a key piece of this puzzle: the timing of everything. The media blitzes, the sudden leaks to Hello magazine, and the bombshells dropped at the most opportune moments. They don't happen by accident. What if this entire saga isn't about Harry's personal vendettas or his desire for a family reunion? What if it's about something far more deliberate? Control over the royal narrative, the public's emotions, and ultimately, who gets to write the story? Think back to when Harry and Meghan first decided to step back from royal duties. What was the excuse given to the public? It was for privacy, for personal well-being, and for the chance to live their lives outside of the royal spotlight. But here's the kicker. They didn't step away from the media. They stepped into it. The moment they left the UK, they found a new platform that allowed them to exploit their royal titles, their family connections, and their personal struggles for profit. Every documentary, every interview, every deal they signed, each one was another way to cash in on the very thing they claimed to want to escape, their royal status. So, what if we've been missing the most crucial point? What if Harry isn't just a rogue prince throwing tantrums for attention? Could it be that he and Meghan have been playing a long game of strategic media manipulation, where the real goal isn't reconciliation with his family, but something far more lucrative? Look at the financial incentives. Every media storm, every fight over security, and every public spat with the royal family adds to their value as media personalities. It's no coincidence that these family dramas always seem to coincide with the release of a book, a Netflix documentary, or a new podcast episode. But here's the big question. Why are we letting them get away with it? Why are we still listening to their grievances when they've already built an empire off of them? We've also seen how the media has, at times, blindly followed their narrative. The tabloids love a royal scandal, and they know that Harry and Meghan's drama will sell. But this isn't just about a media circus. It's about how the royal family, the British public, and the rest of the world have been caught in the web of this manipulation. Harry and Meghan want us to believe they are the victims, but in reality, they've become the ultimate players in the media game, using their royal past to secure a future full of profit and power. And here's the twist no one expected. As much as we've been focused on Harry's personal journey, it's entirely possible that there are larger, external forces at play. Could Harry and Meghan have struck a deal with certain media outlets to control the narrative? Could they be part of a larger movement that uses royal rebellion as a strategy to distract the public from bigger issues at hand? Look at how every new headline about Harry and Meghan seems to eclipse other important news stories. Could this media circus be a well-timed diversion? One that benefits not just Harry, but the people pulling the strings behind him? But here's the part that really stings. Harry and Meghan's public image has always been carefully curated. From the Spare Book to every Netflix special, they've made sure to present a version of themselves that appeals to a global audience. This isn't just a poor Harry story. It's a brand that's been carefully crafted to ensure their relevance in an ever-changing media landscape. And let's be real, when they call out the royal family for being toxic and out of touch, we should be asking, who's really out of touch here? The family who's been serving the public for generations, or the couple who ditched everything for fame, fortune, and a platform to air their grievances? As we wrap up this investigation, the truth becomes clearer. This battle isn't about security or family ties. It's about control. Harry and Meghan have cleverly positioned themselves as the heroes of their own story. But let's not forget who's actually pulling the strings here. Every tearful interview, every emotional plea, is another piece of the puzzle in a much larger game. And while the world watches, they're cashing in on their own brand of royal rebellion. So, as we leave you with this explosive truth, the question remains, is Harry truly fighting for his family, or is he simply playing the role of a victim to keep his empire alive? Stay tuned, because this saga is far from over, and the next chapter might just blow the lid off the entire story.